Kwame had planned everything perfectly. Today was the day he would ask Zuri to marry him. He was nervous but excited, imagining the smile on her face when he got down on one knee. He had chosen the most beautiful spot, prepared the sweetest words, and even bought her favorite flowers. But just as he was about to surprise her, Amelie, Zuri's sister, appeared out of nowhere with a look Kwame had never seen before, one full of anger and fear. Before he could even say hello, Amelie pulled him aside and whispered something that stopped his heart. She told Kwame a secret about Zuri, something that made him feel like the ground had vanished beneath his feet. Kwame couldn't believe what he was hearing. The woman he loved, the one he was ready to spend his life with, had been hiding something important, something that could change everything between them. His perfect day suddenly turned into a nightmare. Confused and hurt, Kwame stood there, holding the ring but unsure if he could ever give it to Zuri now. Questions swirled in his mind. Was Zuri telling him the truth all along? Could their love survive this? The joy he had felt moments ago was gone, replaced by doubt and fear. What was he supposed to do now? The proposal, once filled with hope, now felt like the beginning of a storm he never saw coming. Kwame had always trusted Amelie. She was Zuri's sister, and from the beginning, he believed she wanted the best for both of them. But that evening changed everything. He had stopped by Zuri's house to surprise her, hoping to spend a quiet night together. As he stepped quietly into the hallway, he heard voices coming from the living room. At first, it was just Amelie's voice, but soon he realized she wasn't alone. The tone of their conversation was low and urgent, filled with words that made Kwame freeze in his tracks. Hidden just out of sight, he listened carefully, trying to understand what was going on. Amelie was talking about a secret so dangerous that it could ruin everything Kwame had dreamed of with Zuri. She spoke about a hidden relationship, one that Kwame had never imagined existed. It wasn't just a simple lie, it was a betrayal that threatened to break the trust and love between him and Zuri forever. His heart pounded as he caught pieces of their plan. Amelie seemed determined to keep Kwame away from Zuri, and the reasons behind it were darker than he had expected. Was it jealousy? Was it something more? Kwame's mind raced with questions, but the pain of betrayal hit him harder than anything before. How could the sister of the woman he loved be plotting against him? For a moment, Kwame felt lost and alone, unsure who he could trust. But deep inside, he knew he had to find the truth. He quietly stepped back, leaving the room without making a sound, but his mind was already working, thinking of what to do next. Should he confront Amelie right away? Or tell Zuri what he had heard? The more he thought, the more he realized that this secret could destroy not just his relationship but their entire future. Kwame's heart was heavy, but he also felt a fire burning inside him, a need to fight for the love he believed in, to protect Zuri from the lies and betrayal that threatened to tear them apart. The whispers of betrayal were loud and clear now, and Kwame knew that nothing would ever be the same again. He had to be strong, smart, and brave if he wanted to save the woman he loved and build a future that wasn't broken by secrets. The night that started with hope ended with a painful truth, a truth that would change everything. Kwame understood that the road ahead would be difficult, but he was ready to face it, no matter what. Because some loves are worth fighting for, even when the world seems to be against you. Kwame couldn't stop thinking about what he had overheard. The whispers of betrayal haunted him day and night. He needed answers, and he knew the only way to find them was to dig deeper. At first, he tried to brush it off, hoping it was just a misunderstanding or a bad joke. But the fear in his heart kept growing. Something was very wrong, and he had to find the truth. Quietly, Kwame began to watch Amelie closely. He noticed the way she looked at him and Zuri, a coldness that wasn't there before. Slowly, he started asking small questions, trying to find out more without raising suspicion. Then one day, while going through some old family photos with Zuri, Kwame found something strange. Hidden behind the pictures was a small envelope, yellowed with age. Inside, he found letters that told a story of love, lies, and secrets kept for years. As he read, Kwame realized the betrayal was deeper than he imagined. It wasn't just about him and Zuri. It involved their families too. The letters revealed a hidden past, a secret relationship that had been carefully covered up to protect reputations. Kwame learned that Amelie's anger and bitterness came from pain he never knew existed. He understood why she wanted to keep him away from Zuri, but the truth made his heart ache. This wasn't just jealousy or greed. It was a wound that had never healed. The more Kwame uncovered, the heavier the weight on his shoulders became. He knew he couldn't keep this from Zuri, but he was afraid. How would she react? Would she hate him for digging into the past? Would their love survive this dark secret? Kwame felt lost but determined. He wanted to protect Zuri, no matter what. He decided to confront Amelie, hoping to find some answers and maybe, a way to heal the pain between them. When he finally faced her, the truth spilled out in painful words. Amelie confessed everything, her fears, her anger, and the secret she had been hiding for years. It was a story of betrayal that had torn their family apart, but also a story of hope for forgiveness and new beginnings. Kwame listened carefully, understanding that this pain wasn't just his to carry. It belonged to all of them. In that moment, Kwame realized that love was not always easy. Sometimes it meant facing the darkest parts of the past and fighting to build a better future. With courage in his heart, Kwame promised to stand by Zuri and face whatever came next, knowing that truth, no matter how painful, was the first step toward healing. Kwame's heart was heavy as he walked towards Zuri's house. He had spent days carrying a secret that hurt him deeply. The more he thought about it, the more he realized he couldn't keep it inside any longer. He needed to confront Zuri and Amelie, to bring everything into the open, no matter how painful it would be. When he arrived, Zuri was sitting quietly in the living room, her eyes bright but filled with worry. Amelie was there too, her face guarded, like she knew the storm about to hit. Kwame took a deep breath and began to speak. He told Zuri everything he had learned, the hidden relationship, the lies, and the plans Amelie had whispered about. Zuri's face changed slowly from calm to shocked. Tears welled in her eyes, and her hands trembled as she struggled to understand the truth. She had trusted both Kwame and her sister, but now the foundation of that trust was shaking. Kwame looked at Amelie, who stayed silent for a moment before finally speaking. She admitted to her fears, her anger, and the jealousy that had clouded her judgment. Amelie said she wanted to protect her family but realized her actions only caused pain and betrayal. The room grew quiet, heavy with emotions too big for words. Kwame felt the trust he once had in Amelie slipping away, and even his trust in Zuri felt fragile. Everything he believed about love and family seemed to crumble around him. But as painful as the truth was, Kwame understood that hiding from it would only make things worse. He saw that healing would only start with honesty and forgiveness, even if that path was hard and uncertain. Zuri wiped her tears and looked at Kwame with a mix of sadness and hope. She said she still loved him and wanted to try to rebuild what had been broken between them. Kwame felt a small flame of hope flicker inside him. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust once broken takes time to heal, and the wounds left by betrayal don't disappear overnight. But their love was worth fighting for. As the night went on, they talked about their pain, their fears, and the future they still wanted to build together. They promised to be honest, to support each other, and to face whatever challenges came their way as a team. Kwame understood that this moment was not the end but the beginning of a long journey toward healing and rebuilding. He felt grateful for Zuri's willingness to fight for their love and even for Amelie's honesty, painful as it was. For the first time in days, Kwame felt a quiet hope. He knew that love is not just about happy moments. Sometimes, it means facing the darkest times and choosing to stay, to forgive, and to believe in a better tomorrow. This heartbreak, as deep as it was, could also become the place where their love grew stronger, if they held on to each other and never. Amelie had always acted like she cared for Zuri and Kwame, but Kwame was beginning to see the truth behind her smiles and kind words. After the painful confrontation, Kwame started noticing things he hadn't before, small actions and quiet moments that suddenly made sense. Amelie's real feelings were no longer hidden. Slowly, her true motives came to light, and they were far darker than Kwame ever imagined. It wasn't just about protecting her sister or family. Amelie was jealous of Kwame and Zuri's love. She felt left out and angry, like she was losing her place in their lives. But jealousy was only part of the story. Kwame found out Amelie wanted something more. Greed had taken root in her heart. She was after money, power, and control over the family's future. Kwame learned that Amelie had been quietly making plans for a long time. She didn't want Zuri to marry him, not because she cared about Zuri's happiness, but because she wanted to keep Kwame away forever. Amelie's plan was clever and cruel. She had used lies and secrets to try to break them apart. She whispered doubts to Zuri, hoping to plant fear and mistrust. She worked behind the scenes, making sure that Kwame's name was linked to scandal and trouble. All of this was part of her scheme to take control and make sure her own desires were met. When Kwame finally understood the full picture, his anger and hurt grew. It was hard to believe someone so close could be so cold and calculating. But even as the pain cut deep, Kwame knew he couldn't let Amelie win. He had to protect Zuri and their love from the poison Amelie was spreading. Kwame decided to confront Amelie one last time, not with anger but with strength. He told her he saw through her lies and that her plan would fail. He promised to fight for Zuri and their future, no matter what it took. Amelie's face showed a flicker of surprise, but she quickly masked it with a bitter smile. Kwame could tell that she wasn't ready to give up, but he also knew he had taken the first step toward ending her hold over their lives. The truth about Amelie's hidden agenda shocked everyone, but it also brought a strange kind of relief. With the darkness uncovered, Kwame and Zuri could finally begin to heal. They knew the road ahead would be difficult, but now they faced it together, stronger and more determined than ever. Kwame understood that love sometimes had to fight against the worst lies and betrayals, but with honesty and courage, it could survive anything. This revelation, painful as it was, marked a new beginning, a chance to rebuild trust, find peace, and create a future free from fear and betrayal. Kwame's heart was heavy with pain, but inside him burned a strong fire. He was determined not to let Amelie's lies and betrayal take away everything he had worked for, especially his love for Zuri. Instead of giving up or letting anger control him, Kwame decided to fight back with a clear mind and brave heart. He knew he had to be smart and patient. Rushing in without a plan could only make things worse. So, Kwame started carefully gathering proof. He paid close attention to Amelie's actions, watching her every move. He listened to her conversations from a distance and collected messages that showed her true intentions. Every small piece of evidence added up, painting a picture of the lies and schemes Amelie had woven. It wasn't easy. Amelie was careful and sneaky, trying to hide her secrets and keep Kwame in the dark. But Kwame's courage never faded. He also began talking to people close to them, friends, family, and even neighbors, who had started doubting Amelie's words. Kwame shared his story with them honestly, showing that he was not the villain Amelie made him out to be. Slowly, he gained their trust and support. Knowing he wasn't alone gave Kwame strength. After weeks of gathering facts and preparing, Kwame was ready. He confronted Amelie in front of Zuri and the rest of the family. With calm confidence, he presented the evidence, messages, hidden conversations, and clear proof of Amelie's plans to ruin their relationship. Amelie's face changed from confident to shocked as her lies fell apart. She had no way to deny what Kwame showed. It was a moment of victory, but for Kwame, it was more than that. It was a chance to heal the wounds caused by betrayal and pain. Kwame chose not to respond with anger or revenge. Instead, he offered forgiveness. He understood that holding on to hate would only make things worse and hurt the people he loved. His courage and honesty brought him closer to Zuri, helping them rebuild the trust that had been broken. Zuri saw the man she loved fighting not just for her, but for the future they dreamed about together. Their bond grew stronger, built on truth and hope. Kwame's story became one of redemption, proof that even when life tries to break you, you can rise again. He showed that with intelligence, patience, and a strong heart, it is possible to overcome even the darkest lies. Kwame and Zuri looked ahead to a new beginning, free from secrets and fear. Together, they felt ready to face any challenge as long as they stayed honest and stood side by side. The pain of the past was still there, but it no longer controlled their lives. Kwame's fight was not about winning against Amelie alone, it was about fighting for love, trust, and the life they both deserved. His courage reminded everyone that no matter how hard life gets, never giving up on what truly matters can bring hope and light even in the darkest times. After all the pain and struggles, Kwame finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel. His hard work and courage to uncover the truth had paid off. Amelie's lies and secrets were exposed, and the family could no longer hide from what had happened. The betrayal that once seemed so strong now started to fade away as everyone learned the real story. Kwame felt a deep sense of justice. He had fought not only for himself but for Zuri and their love. The trust that was broken began to slowly heal. Zuri stood by his side, their bond stronger than ever because it was built on honesty and forgiveness. Together, they faced the future with hope and courage. The pain from the past was still there, but it no longer controlled them. Instead, it became a lesson, a reminder that truth and love could win, even after the darkest times. The family, too, began to heal. The secrets that had kept them apart were finally out in the open, allowing them to start fresh. Old wounds were beginning to close, and there was a new chance for peace and understanding between everyone. Kwame and Zuri looked forward to a new chapter filled with happiness, trust, and dreams coming true. They planned their life together, ready to build a future without fear or lies. Their story showed that no matter how deep the betrayal or how hard the struggle, justice and love could still win in the end. Kwame's victory was more than just winning against Amelie, it was about reclaiming faith in love and the promise of new beginnings. This new start gave them both hope and strength to move forward, proving that even after great hardship, there is always a way to heal and find happiness again.